Call to order the Newman City Council regular meeting, October 25th, 2022. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for the invocation. Ready? Begin. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Lord, we come to you tonight asking for guidance over us as we make decisions for the city and over the entire city and all of its public safety. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
All right. Roll call.
Councilmember McDonald. Mayor Pro Tem Ball. Councilmember Pimentel.
Here.
Mayor Graham.
Here. Any declarations of conflict of interest tonight? None? All right, ceremonial matters. Item A, lights on after school. Allison? Over here. Welcome. All right. Proclamation of the City of Newman, whereas the citizens of the City of Newman, California, stand firmly committed to the quality of after-school programs and the opportunities because they provide safe and encouraging learning experiences, support working families, ensuring their children are safe and productive when they're out of the classroom. And whereas the City of Newman of California has provided significant leadership in the area of community involvement and education and the well-being of our youth, grounded in principle that quality after-school programs are key to helping our children become successful adults. And whereas Lights On After School, the national celebration of after-school programs held this year, October 27th, 2022, promotes the importance of quality after-school programs in the lives of children, families, and communities. And whereas many after-school programs across the country are facing operating challenges so severe they are forced to consider closing their doors and turning off the lights. And whereas California is committed to investing in the health and safety of all young people by providing expanded learning opportunities that help our children learn and grow while helping them develop the skills essential for success in life and work. Therefore, be it resolved that I, Mayor Casey Graham, do by here proclaim October 27th as Lights On After School Day, and it be further resolved that I, Mayor Casey Graham, enthusiastically endorse Lights On After School to ensure the lights stay on and the doors stay open for all children after school. Here's the proclamation.
Beautiful.
Sign, okay. And we greatly appreciate
Thank you
the
very, very
after-school
much.
program.
I
It's very
appreciate
vital.
this very much. Thank you, everyone.
It's very vital to our community and keeping kids engaged because kids that don't have things to do seem to get in trouble.
That's right.
And so growing and expanding their knowledge, and so we thank it. You can say something if you'd like about.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Yeah, the after-school and before-school programs in Newman Crow's Landing serve more than 1,000 youth a day. It gives them breakfast. They get lunch at school for free. They get supper and after school for free. And for many of the children that we're talking about, we're providing the primary nutrition for that child, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. In addition, we're providing love and safety and security, and a place where they get seen and felt heard. And what we do in after school gets highlighted this Thursday afternoon for 1 hour from 3:30 to 4:30 this year at Barrington School, where you guys are very much invited to walk in and walk through what we call a day in the life of an after-school program. I did this in Patterson for many, many years before I got to join you fine folks here in Newman. And it is the one day each year that I often had even long-term district employees, like the gal in payroll, come and visit on the Lights On After School Day and walk out and go, the truth is I had no idea what all you did. Mm-hmm. So I'd love to share our secrets with you if you felt like coming. So thank you very much. I'm honored.
Thank you.
Well, Allison, I'd just like to say again, my wife's a school teacher, and we know the value of the after-school programs and how they help our community. And sometimes kids, that's all they have, unfortunately. And so I know you guys are a big piece of their lives sometimes. So thank you. All right. Item number 7, items from the public, non-agenda items. Anybody wishing to speak can step up, and you guys got either one. Okay, welcome. State your name and your address. Yep, come on up.
My name's Amber Rose. My address is 818 Tivoli Drive. And I had two things. The first came from trying to find this meeting. Just the website needs some work. When I clicked on the city council on the homepage and it took me to YouTube, it didn't take me to when the meeting is, what time the meeting's at. So just a side note. Second was, I just was interested in hearing, or I guess bringing to the forefront, what we're gonna do for our seniors in this town. I've lived here for 4 years. I moved from out in between Tracy and Stockton, out on the islands, and I've moved here, and now I wanna move my mom here. And she can drive now, but at some point, you know, it's going to become unsafe for her to drive. And when I was looking to kind of win her over to moving from, she lives out in Oakley, down to here, she said, well, what do they have for the seniors to do? And when I looked on the website, I couldn't answer that question. And so I guess bringing it up and asking, like, what, you know, in the future city planning, what is on the agenda for our seniors? So,
A great resource would actually be Rose. She knows a lot of that stuff that goes on with the seniors and what the groups are. And there are a lot of programs within the city that for seniors that gets them involved in different things. And hopefully we get more as we go.
okay, thank you.
Thank you. Rose, good evening.
Good evening.
Welcome.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor, City Council members, City Manager, guest. I want to first of all say thank you for the purchase of the wreaths. Okay, so thank you very much for supporting that. But tonight I'm here about something different, and it has to do with the seniors. Okay. As you know, we do the meals for the seniors at the McConnell Center. And I delivered those meals whenever we were in COVID for a long time. However, now they're encouraging as many people as possible to go down to the site, to the McConnell Center, have the meal, be around other seniors, have some camaraderie and different activities. And then I know that they have the 50+ club, so there are things, but I can share my information with you. Okay? But tonight I'm here, and I've been asked by Sandy Lesso to just present Westside Senior Awareness. We're under the umbrella of the Newman Partnership, and we're ready for the holiday bags for our underrepresented seniors here in Newman. And so Sandy sent me just to ask if this year could be a repeat of last year. You made a donation then to the program. And what we do is we basically pack 3 bags. One would have the holiday meal, one would have the sundries, and then there are all the vegetables that come in from Lysedra Farms, and we pack those also. And we pack them and then we deliver them to the seniors. So she asked me to please come. So I just gave you the handout or the little letter so that you would have it. And if you need me to come back, I'll do that also. Okay?
Thank you.
So
Rose.
thank you.
Thank you very much. Michael, will you look in that? Thank you. Would anybody else like to speak tonight? No? All right. Thank you, guys. We appreciate it. Number 8, consent calendar. A, waive all readings of ordinance and resolution except by title. B, approval of warrants. C, approval of minutes of the October 11th, 2022 meeting.
I move to move this consent calendar.
Okay, we have a first. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor, or go and vote electronically?
Public.
Motion carries 3 with 1 absent. Item number 9, public hearing, second reading and adoption of ordinance 2022, next in number, an ordinance amending Title 8 Health and Sanitation of the Newman Municipal Code, adding Chapter 8.11 unlawful camping to prohibit camping and storage of personal property on public and private property and authorize staff to publish a summary of said ordinance. Welcome, Sergeant.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council members. Before you is an ordinance amending Title 8, Health and Sanitation of the Newman Municipal Code, adding Chapter 8.11, unlawful camping to prohibit camping and storage of personal property on public and private property. This ordinance was introduced at the October 11th, 2022 City Council meeting, where the City Council waived the first reading except by title. As I mentioned 2 weeks ago, the ordinance is designed to protect the residents of town, the businesses, and city resources. Additionally, it's going to really, the intent is to help the individuals who are out there camping. Like I said before, we're going to be working to get them in contact with resources to try and encourage them to get assistance. And this is essentially, if we're backed into a corner and they're not willing to accept the help, then it gives us the ability to take some sort of enforcement action. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Any questions from the council? I'll go and open it up to the public. Any questions or anything from the public on this item? Go ahead. You go on. Yep.
Because of that YouTube clip I saw last week's meeting.
Yes.
And saw this. I am for this amendment, so that's, however, as I was reading through the ordinance, I saw the part where it talked about citizens or people providing food, money, goods, et cetera, it being unlawful to do so to those that are camping. And so I was just concerned if I hand a sandwich to a homeless person that's sitting on a public bench with a sleeping bag, somebody who's a little overzealous, not that I'm saying Newman police are overzealous, but like it could, am I going to get a ticket for it? But it's on the books, right? So that I wanted to, I know, I'm one little citizen, that's it. But it was a cause of concern because you don't want to see somebody hungry or, without.
I think the problem is more excessive property that's donated to them that just ends up piling up and growing their overwhelming amount of stuff.
Yeah, and I get that. I just, just the way it's written, is not as, it's general.
I can add that the way that it's drafted, it's not, doesn't prohibit you from giving food from someone who's just maybe on a bench, but someone who's engaged in unlawful camping, as is defined in the ordinance, and who's really set up an establishment on public property. So it is more narrowly defined than just giving food to anyone in need.
However, it does say camping as if they've got camping gear. So if they're sitting on a bench with their sleeping bag, then, so that's just thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? All right, we'll bring it back to council for action.
Okay, I move to accept the second reading and adoption of ordinance number 2022 and an ordinance amending Title 8, Health and Sanitation of the Newman Municipal Code, adding Chapter 8.11, unlawful camping to prohibit camping and storage of personal property on public and private property, and authorize the staff to publish a summary of said ordinance.
We have a first,
I'll second.
a second, go and vote. Item carries 3 with 1 absent. Thank you, Sergeant. Item number 10, regular business. A, first reading and introduction of ordinance 2022, next number, an ordinance amending Title 4, building regulations of the Newman City Code, incorporating the California Code of Regulations, Title 24, 2022 edition of the California Building Standards Code. Welcome.
Thank you. Well, Mr. Mayor and City Council, I'm Mike Brinkman, the contract building official for City of Newman. The model building codes are updated every 3 years. This allows the code to improve and adjust to the newest materials, method of construction, and technological advantages in the industry. This was previously updated back in October of 2019. The objective is to produce a practical building code that ensures public safety and implement the most efficient technology available to conserve the state's natural resources and energy use. The new 2022 California Building Codes contains 13 parts, including residential building, electrical, plumbing, mechanical, energy, green code. There's not too many noteworthy changes this year, nothing really overwhelming. Couple of the noteworthy updates are the permit expiration has been extended to 12 months instead of 6, which helps projects that get delayed for whatever reason. There's a new age-in-place design and fall prevention for new residential construction. What that means is you'll have to put backing in your bathrooms for grab bars, make openings for doors large enough for wheelchair access, some other implementations, just to keep people be able to age in their homes longer. And the ever popular electric vehicle charging, there's just some more requirements for hotels and multifamily dwellings in that. So the Health and Safety Code mandates that the building standards for the 2022 become effective 180 days after publication, which means that this will come into effect January 1st, 2023. And as part of this process, we've made every effort to notify affected parties of the proposed changes coming. If you have any questions?
Any questions? No? I'll go open up to the public for any questions. Seeing none, I'll bring it back to council for action.
I'll approve the first reading and introduction of the ordinance number 2022 and ordinance amending Title IV Building Regulations of the Newman City Code incorporating the California Code of Regulations Title 24, 2022 edition of the California Building Standards Code.
First, a second.
Second.
Our first and second, go and vote. Motion carries 3 with 1 absent. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 10B, adopt resolution 2022, next number, a resolution accepting bid and awarding contract to Rolf Construction for the Newman Environmental Wetland System News Project and authorizing the city manager to execute the agreement.
Thank you,
Catherine?
Mayor. Good evening, everyone. Can we get a yay? We're gonna
Yay!
go out to construct our news project.
That's good. That's good.
Exciting.
Yep.
This is a project that we have been working on, and that was the city manager's vision for 10 years. And so we are finally going to be able to spend that grant we received. And we put this project out to bid. We advertised it 3 different times on the building exchanges and also in the local newspaper. We received 6 bids, and ranging from $6.4 million to $9.2 million. The engineer's estimate was 5.2, came in a lot higher. We did immediately send a request to the state and just found out yesterday that we received an additional $1.8 million in grant. We'll be doing an amendment to the agreement. So we've got that, this construction funding covered, along with some environmental stuff that we're going to be doing out there on the site, some monitoring according to our environmental documents. Rolf Construction was the low bidder at $6,414,707.92. He is they are the lowest responsible and responsive bidder. Everything was in order, and staff does recommend awarding this project to Rolf Construction.
Well,
And I can answer
on-
any questions that you may have.
well, congratulations on the additional
Yeah.
money. Thanks for
Thank
going and
you.
getting that. Do we have any questions from,
Let's start breaking ground on that. That's what I got.
all right, no questions from you guys? I'll open it up to the public for any questions or comments. All right, seeing none, I'll bring it back to council for action.
I will adopt resolution number 2022, a resolution accepting bid and awarding contract to Rolf Construction for the Newman Environmental Wetland Systems News project and authorizing the city manager to execute the agreement.
Second.
We have first and second, go and vote.
That's a good one there. Yeah,
Motion carries
That's a
3
real
with
good
1
one.
absent.
I like that one.
Item number 10C, selection of areas for a second Measure L project. Catherine,
Another
welcome back.
fun one tonight. I get all the fun stuff tonight.
Oh, yeah.
So the item before you is to bring you several projects and kind of go over the overall transportation projects that we're going to be working on over the next couple years, and then bring you some areas that we identified from the pavement management plan for proposed construction. This is a public workshop. Any public that has any comments, I would love to hear those. I do have a brief presentation to share with you. This will go over, clear up some things. A lot of you know, but some of the public doesn't. Measure L is the transportation ordinance and expenditure plan approved by Stanislaus County voters on November 8th, 2016. The measure raised sales tax by 1/2 cent for 25 years to improve our local streets and roads. The Measure L funding is categorized by local streets and roads, traffic management, and then bike and pedestrian improvements. There's certain percentages for each one of those that our projects must meet. The city of Newman receives 1.26% of the tax revenue that the entire county receives. And it works out to, it varies depending on purchases, so the revenue. We receive anywhere from $425,000 per year to $500,000 per year. And Lou may have a more exact number, but that's a pretty good range. As you all know, we did a big project by borrowing money based on anticipated revenue that we were going to receive, and we were able to do a really strong project very early in the Measure L process. We got really good bids out. We did Hills Ferry, Merced, Inyo, YOLO, a lot of sidewalks, bike lanes, and all pavement improvements, along with some stuff on Upper and Prince, all the way to the middle school on Hoyer, down Oristimba, around Hardin, Stevens. And so it was a really nice big project, and it really improved a lot of roadways that needed it. So we want to try to do the same thing now. This is just a summary. This slide is a summary of our pavement network. We have 40.7 centerline miles, which you double for drive lanes. And we have basically $100 million investment in our roads in Newman. Our average pavement condition index is 68, which 56% of our roads are in good condition. We have some fair, 28%, 7.9 poor, and 6.8% of our roads are failed. Some of these are already being addressed. We've got current funded projects. These are already funded and somewhere in the process of design. We've got the Highway 33 intersection project that should be starting construction in March of '23. We've got the Inyo Canal School pavement project, which I'm really looking forward to, and I know the community is as well. That we are fully funded, and we expect to be going out to bid very soon and constructing that in March of '23 as well. We also have our combination of SB1 and some CMAQ funding and STBGP funding to work on the last two blocks, southern blocks of Main Street, Stanislaus Street, which also will include some sidewalk, curb and gutter, and then full pavement reconstruction on those segments of road. And that project is in design now. We're just starting that one. The T Street Corridor Plan is a grant that we received. We are just this month, which has a few days left, but we should be receiving the agreement from Caltrans, and that'll give us our guidelines to proceed with a study of the T Street Corridor. And that'll have a lot of public involvement so we can address the lack of sidewalks, routes to school for kids and walkers. And so that's going to be a really good project. There's some drainage stuff out there, and so we'll be addressing all those types of things. So all of these projects, we ignored these areas, these street segments. When we developed some areas for the Measure L funding, we kind of ignored all this. We did ignore it. We ignored all these because they're already funded. They're already in the process of being constructed. And those previously identified projects are identified as some of the failed or poor, very poor of roadways that are identified on this map. This is our current PCI. The red is really bad roads. So we worked with the engineers. We looked at the pavement management plan. Michael and I had several meetings to determine, what projects we want to bring. We considered the condition of the road. We also considered what is being done in a specific area already to see if we can combine. It's a really good idea, and we do it quite often, of combining different funding sources to be able to have a stronger, bigger project and get more done. So we broke it out into 5 different areas, and if you got a chance, I hope you reviewed the specifics and the cost. We've got Area 1, which is L Street. That road is like a roller coaster. It's in really bad shape. It's 2 lanes with some big craters of gravel. So we propose installing to a commercial traffic grade 2 drive lanes and then smooth the shoulder out. We're going to be talking to Saputo to try to coordinate maybe some partnership there, because that is a main thoroughfare for their truck drivers to park and stage, and in the industrial customers down in that area. So we're going to be working towards that. And so that's area number 1. Let me just refer to my notes a little bit. So area number 1 is $818,207. And that will be for a full reconstruct and 5 inches of AC over 18 inches. A lot of those roads, the early roads in Newman were constructed on native soil, which means they didn't have a good sub base and it wasn't compacted. And so that's why Canal School looks like it does, except for that one little piece that the developer constructed with that subdivision over there. They did a better job, and so it's hanging out a little bit better. And so we are going to, you have to spend a little bit more, but you get a really better product that can take that heavy truck traffic. Area 2, let's go back to this one. Area 2 is the northern part of L Street, which isn't really in bad condition, but we wanted to try to cover that whole all those segments right there. So, and because when you're in the area and you mobilize, then you get a lot more bang for your buck to have them. Even if it's not a full reconstruct, you can go in and do a slurry or a chip seal and then really get more life out of your road. And so it's the M Street between Kern and Merced, Tulare and Fresno, the little short segments there, and then the segment of L Street. And that's going to be a full reconstruct on most of it. And that cost is 1.67. I don't know, that's area 2. Excuse me, let me just go here. So that's area 2 is 1.3 million, almost $1.4 million. And then area 3 is part of a project. We're doing another project there, which is CDBG. And that has been identified as a low-income area on the census tract. And so that area qualifies for some improvements, which will include some aging infrastructure for water lines, some sidewalk infill, curb and gutter, and then pavement, of course. And so we expanded that project and included the rest of the roads and really concentrating on Patchett. Patchett's in pretty bad shape. There's a school right there. I went out and looked at it closely, and it's in great need. There's a couple roads, but again, taking the whole neighborhood and seeing what each road segment needs, you can see the purple on Area 3, it only needs crack seal and slurry. And so that'll give us a whole area that has been treated in 2023. And then the CDBG will run right before this project, so we can come in and pave, and we don't have to go back in later and mess up our newly paved road. So, and that one is 1.67 million. Pretty hefty price tag, but this is could be adjusted by the CDBG funding, and so we'll be, if that area is selected, we'll be looking at what CDBG can fund, and then how to make the most of our Measure L money in combination with CDBG. We haven't done a project since we did some sidewalk on Q Street and did the Amy Park playground there. So we might be able to get a lot of bang for our buck, and that number could possibly come down a bit. Area 4 is West Tulare, a piece of West Fresno, and then a little West Avenue there. It's that little loop. That it's in pretty bad shape. This one's not high on my or staff's list for funding, just because I'm worried about what kind of drainage issues we're going to find in that area, and I don't want to pave it and redo that road and then have to go back when we do the T Street study. And when we're going to be looking at drainage problems, if we have to do anything in this area with drainage, we would have to tear the newly constructed road up. But it is an area that that would benefit from construction. And Area 4 is $584,775. Area 5 is a neighborhood that is all local residential roads. There's no collector streets or anything like that really in there. It does need, it's not as good a shape as you would think it should be. And so that one is about 1.2, it's Lucas Ranch 2, $1.286 million. And that would be a combination of crack seal and slurry, and then pulverize and repave with 3-inch asphalt concrete overlay. And so these, I can answer any questions about these areas. One of the things that I'd like to tell you is that we also considered different funding sources that the other roads are eligible for. Some of these roads aren't eligible for different funding. So like, for example, Fresno, Mariposa, Merced, all those are SB1 identified in our SB1 plan. And so we don't want to, that's why we're going to do Stanislaus with SB1 funding on our next project, because it's already been identified in our SB1 plan that you guys adopt. I don't know if Michael wants to add anything else to, I would recommend, staff recommends that you approve Area 1, 2, and 3 for construction. Michael and Lou are comfortable with between $3 and $3.5 million project, because we have about $1 million already saved of Measure L funding. Those numbers are going to change a bit as we get out there and we really analyze the condition of the road and what kind of treatment it needs.
Yeah.
And that will be we think those 3 areas will be able to be constructed in this next Measure L round of funding. And I can take any questions. Michael's here also to chime in.
Any questions?
And then public comment too, if we want to do that, but go ahead, I'll answer your question.
What kind of timeline are we looking at for Stanislaus Street?
So Stanislaus is in design right now. And so that'll take about 6 months. I'm hoping that we can go out to construction early next spring or go out to bid and maybe a summer construct. It is fully funded, and so we've already got the money there, which is half the battle. I think it's been obligated, which is something you have to go through, and for some of the other funding that we're tying to there, the CDBGP money, STPG money. There's so many acronyms. I made him give me a sheet so I could have a cheat sheet.
I only ask, from either riding my bike or walking, it's one of the more, one of the worst streets in town. And so I'm glad to hear that it's up for a go. And plus the cars flip and fly down that street. They come off of Inyo and they just boom through there.
And surprisingly, it's much busier than anyone would anticipate when you look at just the small run there, but it does get a lot of traffic there, so yeah.
I use it all the time.
Speed bumps, maybe.
As part of that project,
Down.
as part of that project, council will also probably have a traffic engineer look at if there's any traffic calming measures
Okay.
that can be added there as we get into design to sometimes striping, sometimes some other things they'll do there, so.
Right. All right. Thank you very much.
Are we doing anything in Area 4 to repair temporarily? Because I get complaints from some people out that way.
So I can definitely do a work order and they'll fill potholes in, kind of like they do out on Canal School at this time and Stanislaus. And so we can kind of do that for now. I can also, you can pass them on to me and I'll explain where we are and what we're doing if you'd like. I talk to a lot of residents about the process and how we get to what we repair. And so I would be glad to talk to anybody that.
Because, you said Area 4 is low on your list because the T Street, and that makes sense to me. But that is a highly traveled area because people drive those roads to drop off their kids at the back of the school and drive out. And so, that road is constantly being traveled for the junior high.
Okay.
Probably one of the more heavily traveled roads.
And those comments aren't lost on staff.
Yeah.
That's why we have it. We know it's very busy. Our only problem is that if you've been out there in the winter, if you go out there this rainy season, you'll see water pooling and puddling in those areas, and it sits because the stormwater has nowhere to go. And so, that where you see West Avenue, if you continue West Avenue like northward and back of those houses, that's where our storm drainage line is. So when we start putting in storm drainage to alleviate some of that drainage on T Street, it's going to flow to west to West Avenue. And so that's why we're concerned about putting in things in Fresno or making improvements to Fresno and Tulare, long-term improvements to those right now until we study that corridor and make sure that, when we do it the correct way. But your comments are not lost on us, and we can work on making sure that we do some potholes and some other stuff out there.
Any other questions from you? Open up for the public for any comments, questions?
I have a question. Is there a certain height?
Rose, can you go to the count so the public can hear you?
I'm sorry, so we can record you.
You need your address again?
1447 Q Street, Rosalie Hurst. My question is there a certain height for the stop signs?
Yes.
Okay, because when the Merced Street got taken care of, which I was very glad, I noticed that some of the stop signs that have the bike signs on it are much, much taller. And if the trees aren't trimmed, I'm kind of worried about that because for some reason, people can really zip down Q Street. And of course, down Merced, they don't have anything to stop them. But even Q Street, they're coming between a stop sign and a stop sign, and they can still get up the speed, and I'm worried about that.
Okay. So I would be, always call me and tell me if you see something of concern out there, because that's what I do is send out people to take care of those types of things. And so I know that those are set at the proper height. And so it's all about tree maintenance. And
It's
so
the
I
tree.
just need to know. And then, because I'm not driving down the streets every day, so all you gotta do is call and say, hey, there's a low tree branch, and then we do a work order and it gets
Okay.
done. And so that's all I need
Yep.
from you, and then.
That's good.
And then I'll talk to the engineers and just make sure, but the inspectors are like on top of it. If
Yeah.
it's 2 inches off, they make them do it right.
Okay, thank
Okay,
you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions, comments? Okay. Well, you're looking for us to pick, give
Yep,
you guidance? Do
I'm
we have any
looking for you to
recommendations?
have a consensus and tell me what to construct.
I think one, in my opinion, obviously one is a horrible road. That thing needs to be, that probably takes down our numbers a lot. Yeah. Yeah. It's bad.
That's Saputo stuff, though. That's part of the trucks. That's all gonna have to be concrete, not asphalt. Because you know how the heat bends that asphalt around and it gets hot. So, yeah, that's the, but nobody really uses that L Street except for trucks.
The employees for the flange, Newman flange, we get a lot of calls from them.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, they park on the other side too, where, they're,
Yeah.
they bought that area where that little pet place used to be. That's part of their, flange office, I believe. So I know where they park by that big compressor.
And so,
'Cause I hear them.
yeah, and so, council,
Okay.
I have
Okay.
my comments echo yours about L Street. I think we all recognize the horrible shape it's in.
Yeah, it is.
But then I think we all also take into account that the limited amount of traffic that actually goes through there is generated by two businesses there. But with that being said, I think that without a good funding source to build something, to reconstruct that and do it right, you can see it's pretty hefty cost. So at some point, it's going to behoove the council and the city to go ahead and make that investment. And that's why we're recommending it today.
So for clarification, are you looking, or is staff looking for us to select 3 areas
Well,
at this time?
they're willing to go out to about 3 to 3.5 million. So roughly whatever projects can equal that amount. If it's one, then it's
So,
two.
and then Council Mayor, I'm sorry. We threw together our best 5. I mean, if you guys have other ideas and you want us to bring this back at the next meeting because you want us to look at a different area, we're here to serve you guys and to do the projects you feel need to be done.
No, because I know the ones that are already source subjects are already being addressed. Canal School, Inyo, Stanislaus, those are the ones, T Street, are all being addressed. And so I think we're good on that. So I trust your guys' input on that. And so, for us, it's just coming up with 3, and you guys are recommending 1, 2, and 3 at this time, correct? Will we be able to get any other funding so you were saying we might be able to get different funding for 3, but would that same funding be able to be used in 5 instead?
No,
Or how
because-
does that funding?
So CDBG funding is tied to income levels. And so
Okay.
because our entire community is not a disadvantaged area, we had to do income surveys. It's taken us 2 years to get that done. And so we surveyed, and this area has been identified on our CDBG sub-agreement with the county to do this project here. It's called the Stevenson Park Project. It's an old project that has been on the books that we need to do. And so we got the income certification, and so now we can actually do our project. And so part of the CDBG funding covers some of the work that it's Pine Street, Pine Court, Leslie, and Sydney.
Okay.
So some of the pavement or the sidewalks, some of that's going to be covered under CDBG, but we just don't have the exact amount because we're still working through that funding process.
Okay, so we don't know how much we'd begin. It wouldn't be enough to cover the whole project.
It would not.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And then some of the streets she indicated, the 3, does not include S, T, Patchett, Patrick, Taylor, Langston. those were not covered in the income survey.
Right.
So we would not be able to, and CDBG, Community Development Block Grant, again, that's an income qualified area, so.
Well, you want me to give a shot at it here? Okay.
See if I-
I move that we select areas 1, 2, and 3 for a second Measure L project.
I'll second.
I can concur with that too, so go ahead and make a full motion. Was that good enough for a full motion?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
have a motion, we should do it both, though.
Yeah, we will.
Okay.
So with that, okay, so we'll go ahead and vote on the guidance of approving areas 1, 2, and 3 for that.
Second.
We had a first and second on that, so go and vote. And with that carries 3 with 1 absent. That'll,
Thank you, Catherine.
Thank you so much.
thank you guys. We appreciate that.
It'll be a good project, and I'm looking for other money, so don't.
No more voting, so.
Yeah, you're good, you're good. Items number 11, items from District 5, Stanislaus County Supervisor. They are unable to make it tonight. Item 12 is items from the city manager and staff. Michael?
Thank you, Mayor. Let me get my notes real quick. Well, thank you for the Measure L tonight. You know, we advertise, I don't know if you noticed it, but we did advertise in the newspaper with big advertisements talking about, you know, tonight, come give your input into Measure L. I mean, we're trying to elicit comments from the public and get them to participate. This is a big project. Our last road project was 1.8 million. I mean, we're looking 3.5, maybe a little over this time. So this is definitely going to be the biggest road project that city of Newman has ever endured. So, but you know, we can thank Measure L and the voters for passing Measure L. It's definitely had an impact on our roads. Our roads are improving because of Measure L on there, and so we appreciate that. And I think, Mayor, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, when we really get through Measure L and the projects that we were talking about Canal School Road, right? We're talking about Inyo, we're talking about Stanislaus, we're talking about the last 2 blocks of Main Street. You know, all those start getting paved and redone. I think our residents are going to really start noticing a difference in the caliber of our streets and the quality of our streets over there. And then again, when the T Street corridor planning projects come forward, you know, we'll again try to get the word out, trying to get everyone to participate there too, because that's going to be another big project out there as well. Because probably going to look at the potential for a redesign of what T Street corridor looks like right now. And there's lots of different ways to do that. And so we're going to really want residents that travel it, as well as residents that live on there, to give their input on that. So we'll definitely be trying to get them involved. Excuse me. Secondly, I want to just say Yahoo for news. Again, this project's a long time in the works. I mean, we purchased that project in 2013 with a vision of this type of project going out there, and through the hard work of our staff, and big kudos to Catherine and Darla Ellsworth. They have really pushed this project forward. But this even past Kusun Kim, who former Public Works Director, he got this into an area, he got it on the state's radar, and people started seeing what a quality project this was, and that got on their radar, and that got us some technical funding, and then, like I was saying, Catherine and Darla really took it from there and really moved that thing forward. So it's going to be very exciting to see, and very excited about it.
Good.
And then we will, Catherine and I were discussing it today, but we'll have a ribbon cutting ceremony when that one's done. That's going to be a big project. So don't be surprised if that project doesn't win an award someday, because it really is out of the box, forward thinking kind of project that does sustainable groundwater, cleanup of surface water and storm water that's going out to the river. I mean, there's so many benefits to it out there Nobody's doing projects like that, so especially in the San Joaquin Valley. So that's exciting. And then in January, we're going to award the second grant that we got out there, about $1 million for some wetlands restoration, upper wetlands restoration, planting of some trees and all that. So that's excited. And then the third of the four components is the nature park. As you know, we have about a $2 million grant out there right now. We're out fishing for $2 million more.
I thought it was going to be.
Tricked you on that one. So I met with Raul Mendez. Raul Mendez is the CEO of Merced County. So I shared with him our nature park project, threw out a funding request to him. He's going to take that back to Supervisor Pereira, who's the supervisor, District 5 over there in that area, and start talking to his staff about it, because our request would be for money in 23, 24, and 24, and 25. So hopefully, he liked the project. He thought it was really good, and they all like it when they put in the last dollar in, not the first dollar in. So, and then we're sharing with them, we've got UC Merced on board for the project right next to his. So it's really behooves him to see about getting Merced County to be an active participant as part of this. And then we'll follow that up with meetings with Stanislaus County as well. I know the mayor has been prepping Supervisor Condit on the project and looking for an ask there as well. So we're really excited about the nature park. Measure L, additional funding. Catherine and I have a Zoom meeting with the executive director of StanCog tomorrow. So she'll be very happy to know that we're getting ready to do our second big Measure L project. And see if there's any extra funding out there to go along with this. So. We are anticipated to close escrow on the 96 acres on Monday. So all the documents were signed today. Funds are being wired over. That's already been processed. We believe that will record on Monday, the 31st, and then it'll be ours as of either the 31st or the 1st. That 96 acres will be ours. So. And then lastly, reminder, tomorrow night, 6 p.m., phase 2 of the plaza. We have 2 designs that we're floating out there right now. We're trying to get the community to participate over a Zoom meeting to give their input into the design of this corner here, which incorporates, the Veterans Memorial, or honorary, however we're going to call that, as well as the Christmas tree and some of the other things on there as well. So that is a Zoom meeting tomorrow evening, 6 p.m. All the information can be accessed on the city's website. On the news flash, it says...
It's on the paper, too.
Yeah, it says second phase. Yeah, we wanted to make sure we've taken out advertisements on there, too, and putting all that information on there, and all the Zoom information. So hopefully we'll get a good turnout. And then that's an exciting project that we look forward to moving forward. So, and that's all that I have, and I can answer any questions the council may have.
Any questions? No. Thank you, Michael. Allie, good evening.
Mine is short and simple this week. It's our last week of soccer. Thank you for Public Works, Terry and Catherine out there cooking for us 2 weekends ago. That was really sweet and nice. Thank you. It's also our last farmers market, and we do have a dog costume contest brought to us by Brianna Martins and the animal shelter. So hopefully y'all can come out on Friday between the hours of 6 and 7. Come out, have a good night with us, and check it out. Apart from that, we are having basketball signups. Anybody that you know that's interested in doing basketball, send them our way to the Teen Center for signups. With that, I can turn around and answer any questions y'all may have.
Any question? No? Thank you, Allie. We appreciate all your hard work. Chief Richardson?
Evening, Mayor, council members. Just a reminder, Monday is Halloween, so as it gets dark, there'll be a lot of pedestrians on the roadways, so drive carefully. A lot of them wear dark clothing, especially on that night, so just be careful when you're driving. And then November 1st, we'll be starting our Tickets for Tots campaign again. So it'll be warning citations for people that have been pulled over for lawful reasons. In lieu of a regular ticket, they get a Tickets for Tots, and we encourage them to donate toys instead of getting fined. So, and we'll deliver all those to local kids, either through Toys for Tots or the local, whatever they're going to do this year. And I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Chief. Lou?
Evening, Mayor and council members. Our auditors have given us the go-ahead to resume the production of our treasurer's reports. Those will be signed off on Thursday by our treasurer, and they'll be distributed after that. That's it.
Catherine?
Thank you, Mayor.
You don't get Keith's time just because he's not here.
Yes, I do. I'll get you guys out of here. There's probably some game on or something. So I just want to reiterate that we're having the workshop tomorrow. Any veterans you know, active service members, families of service members, if they want any input in what's going to happen on that lawn area at the workshop, please log in. It's going to be a really good interactive presentation. RRM does a really good job on that. And so it's been in the newspaper, on our social media, so you can get the Zoom link, get in there and get your input in. We're also going to have a shredding event. It's a free shredding event at 712 Fresno Street on November 5th from 8 to 12. You can take up to 3 boxes, and they'll shred them right there on site for you. That way they don't go into the landfill. We also we're going to start accepting brush on the curbside November 1st, and it ends March 31st. The most important thing to remember is to keep the gutter clear. Because God willing, if we get rain, then we need that rain to flow down the gutter. We can't have brush or leaves in the gutter. So just keep it scooched out a foot away so the water can get by.
I have a question.
Sure.
Where they're doing the housing down there, Prince, and then that other street that comes right where the water tank is, and you make a right, there is all kinds of debris on the side of the road. They got cones, but it's all this tree cuttings, stumps.
That is probably city work.
Oh, because it was there this morning and it was there this afternoon when I came back. I thought it might have been picked up by now.
That may be city work going on.
But that's okay. But
Canyon Creek, it's 2 palm trees
right
that were taken down.
But 2 cars can't pass through there at all.
2 cars can't pass down Canyon Creek.
I drag a boat with the other cars coming at me. I get through there.
No, Canyon Creek, when they developed the new.
Yeah, there's something weird
section,
about that.
It was so.
You're right.
So thin, and now they've got the.
Right.
But I think that might be personal.
Okay.
I don't think that's city.
I said code enforcement over there.
But it's not. Half of it was picked up today, which I would have.
Was it?
Maybe they're just making trips to the dump. You know, people do go to the dump.
Okay.
A good portion.
They had stumps out there, and I know they don't pick up stumps.
Yeah. Now that's my street, and it's about half of.
Oh, you live on that street?
Yeah, I do.
You park a car on the street?
Which one?
You tell me which one.
My wife parks a car on the street.
Okay, okay. Well, that's great. Thank you. But I was just wondering if it was tight for my boat today to get through there.
It's always, that street's always tight. Yeah.
We're also starting the Prince sewer capacity project. You'll start seeing construction occur out there on Prince. They'll be running a sewer line down Prince, to Inyo, down Main, to Merced. And so that'll be a construction project that'll go for a few months, probably not a few, probably a couple months. And we'll have some increased sewer capacity out there. So I'll be sending out notices of any traffic impacts. And so be careful because there'll be construction in that area, and go a different way if you can.
Got it.
Just moving along.
Mayor, I thought she was going to introduce it, but Catherine had made mention of it when we did the news project, but through the hard work of Catherine and Darla, you saw the bids today came in much higher than expected and what we were granted. So we, Darla and Catherine, immediately got in contact with our representative at the state and were able to secure an additional 1.8 million. Otherwise, that money we would have had to look for it in our budget.
Right.
So just wanted to reiterate that
That's good work.
and thank
Really good
Catherine
work.
and Darla for that. It's really important, now You know,
Absolutely.
now we're up, our project or our grant is 8.2, 8.3 million total out there. So that's a great job by the team getting out there to secure those funds for our community. You know, $8 million in state funding coming to our community. And so that's going to be a long-term community benefit, not only for groundwater recharge, clean up stormwater, but it's also going to be a community amenity that people can walk around and enjoy. So
Absolutely.
Yeah, great.
Appreciate the hard work on that.
You're welcome. That's all I got.
Thank you. Pro Tem?
Ms. Rose, I'd like to thank you for your perspective on the city website. For those of us who frequently use it, we know where to go, we know where to look. But your perspective as somebody who's going on it for the first time, I would hope would be able to go on there and just
Isn't that
say,
being redesigned?
we're in the middle of a redesign right now, probably launch around the first of the year.
okay. So, and I'm not saying anything critical about the people who are running our website, but it's great to hear your perspective, and it's something we definitely need to hear. So thank you. That's all I have.
All I got to say is get your last fifth shot this year, your COVID shots. And be careful with the children out there are starting to get sick with that RVD, it's called, or something.
Respiratory.
Yeah, it's a very bad thing, so
Yeah. All right. Well,
be safe. That's about it.
I'd just like to say again, thank you guys for all your work on the news project. I sign that's coming together and going out and getting that additional funding. So thank you guys all for your hard work on that. Thank you for coming, Amber. Mm-hmm. We don't get a lot of visitors, so we appreciate it.
We'll see you in 2 weeks.
Everybody be safe on Halloween and have a great night. And with that, I'll ask for adjournment.
Move to adjourn.
A second.
Adjourn. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.